I asked for a divorce while my wife was completely absorbed in studying a chess game. She didn't even lift her eyes, just coolly spit out 2 words. The reason? I thought for a moment. I saw you with Julian today. She immediately slammed the chess book shut and stood up, her expression stern. He came to pick up some books. I know you don't like seeing him, so I didn't even let him in the house. If you suspect I'm having an affair, please produce evidence. If you keep acting like this, I'm going to start questioning the validity of this marriage. She didn't realize it at all. Even when I brought up divorce, she couldn't be bothered to put down her chess book. But the moment I mentioned her beloved male student, she, usually so reticent and cold, suddenly became aggressive and defensive. That reaction was the answer in itself. At the precinct, I sat in a daze watching Elena rush in. I never expected that the family member Julian called to bail him out would be my wife. Her tailored trench coat highlighted her slender figure. Even in her rush, she maintained that air of cold, detached elegance. Elena looked up, saw me, and froze. She frowned slightly. "Coach Elena." My hand. From the other side of the room, Julian groaned, grabbing onto Elena's arm. "What happened? How's your hand?" Elena looked at Julian's gauze-wrapped left hand and didn't push him away. Julian furrowed his brow, holding his hand out to her. "I think my pinky is fractured. It hurts so bad. My hair was a mess. The red welts on my face were throbbing, and my chest was covered in coffee stains." The contrast with the graceful, pristine Elena was brutal. It was a scene no one would believe. 2 people so vastly different were actually husband and wife. Elena and I had been in love for 7 years and married for 3. She had always been immersed in the world of chess, impatient with the mundane interruptions of daily life. 2 weeks ago, we had a fight. She simply packed a bag and moved into the team dorms. Last week, I needed help getting my dad an appointment with a top specialist, slots that were impossible to get. I swallowed my pride, ignored the Cold War between us, and begged her for connections. She replied coldly, "Preparing for a tournament. No time. Doesn't the hospital open its doors for you, too?" Having known her for years, I thought I was used to Elena's emotional detachment. I comforted myself countless times, thinking she was just born with an emotional deficit, unable to empathize with others' pain or understand care and tenderness. But now, seeing Julian leaning against her, looking aggrieved and pouring his heart out, Elena, usually so icy, looked incredibly soft, bowing her head to whisper words of comfort to him. My eyes stung. I unconsciously pressed a hand against my tightening chest. Elena looked over Julian's head and saw me. Meeting her gaze, I instinctively turned my bruised face away to hide the injury. Elena was silent for a moment, then turned to the officer. "I'm here to bail out Julian. What is the situation?" The 2 gentlemen got into a dispute at a breakfast spot, which escalated into physical altercations. Both parties claimed the other started it, but before the officer could finish, Julian shrieked. "Ben hit me first. There was a fly in the coffee his shop sold me. He wouldn't admit it, and then he shoved me. How could someone twist the truth like that?" My voice trembled with rage. "You're lying. You framed me. You came up to me and started swinging." That morning, Julian had bought a coffee. I brewed it fresh and sealed the lid myself. But moments later, he ran back claiming there was a fly in it and, without a word, splashed the hot coffee all over me. I grabbed his collar in anger, but he slapped me first. In the scuffle, he hit the wall and hurt his finger. After hearing my side, Elena stopped Julian from arguing further and asked calmly, "Is there security footage?" I felt defeated. "We just reopened last week. I haven't had time to install cameras, and there are no street cams nearby." "Then it's a he said, she said situation," Elena mused. She turned to the officer. "Can we settle this through mediation?" I refused. If I didn't clear my name today, who would dare buy coffee from my shop again? Hearing there were no cameras, a gleam of triumph flashed in Julian's eyes. He insisted I attacked him and refused mediation. The officer closed his notebook, looking resigned. "If you refuse mediation for mutual combat, we have to book both of you. That means 5 to 10 days in holding." Julian stamped his foot anxiously. Coach, Elena pulled out a business card and handed it to the officer. I am the president of the chess association. Julian is my team member. He has a major tournament tomorrow. He cannot be detained. I can vouch for him as his superior. He has excellent character and would absolutely not strike someone first. There must be a misunderstanding. The officer looked at the card, then handed it back.
I'm sorry, ma'am.
Everyone is equal before the law. Detention depends on evidence and the case itself, not a boss's guarantee. Elena's expression shifted slightly. She clearly hadn't expected to be rejected so bluntly. She fell silent for a few seconds, her gaze sweeping over me. What if I testify for him? I didn't react immediately. Elena looked away and said in a low voice, I was waiting for Julian by the roadside this morning. There really was a fly in the coffee he brought over. When I followed him back to the shop, I saw him being pushed to the ground. My mind went blank, as if I'd been hit by a sledgehammer. Elena, you are lying through your teeth. My body started to shake uncontrollably, tears spilling out. You weren't even there this morning. Why are you helping him frame me? Elena avoided my eyes, her tone remaining perfectly steady. I am stating the facts. The officer hesitated. Ma'am, are you sure? Elena nodded without hesitation. I take full responsibility for my words and actions. After giving her statement, the officer gestured that she could take Julian. Julian tugged at Elena's sleeve, but she didn't move. She just looked at me. I turned my head, refusing to look at her. An officer came to take me to processing. I wiped the tears from my face and begged, Can I make a phone call? My dad is sick in the hospital. Elena cut in, Don't worry about Dad. I'll arrange a nurse. The two officers stared, dumbfounded, their eyes darting between Elena and me. You two are married? A rare trace of embarrassment floated across Elena's face. I said coldly, Getting divorced soon. We're separated. As I was led away, I didn't look back. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw Elena standing rooted to the spot. 5 days later, released from holding, I rushed straight to the hospital. Outside the ward, I stopped to fix my hair and clothes, took a deep breath, and pushed the door open. My dad was chatting with a nurse, looking rosy and relaxed. I let out a breath of relief. He turned and saw me, smiling. Did you get over your flu? I was confused but didn't dare correct him, just mumbling a vague yeah. Elena said you were afraid of infecting me. You're too careful. I'm not that weak. Elena came by? Yeah, she brought in a specialist for a consultation. The doctor said my condition is stable, conservative treatment is fine. It won't affect my daily life. My dad studied me closely. Why do you look so terrible? Are you still feeling sick? He hesitated, then said, Maybe you should just close the shop. I think Elena wants that too. It doesn't make much money, and it's hurting your marriage. I fought back tears and hummed a soft agreement. 2 weeks ago, Elena and I had fought about reopening the breakfast spot. Elena couldn't understand why Dad and I wouldn't let the shop go. It was exhausting work, and the family didn't need the money. Our shop had been open for over 20 years. After Mom passed away a few years ago, Dad took a break but eventually reopened. He said that for all those years, the moment he opened his eyes, he and Mom were busy in that shop. Sitting idle at home made his heart feel empty. Besides, if we closed, where would the regulars get a decent breakfast? 6 months ago, neighborhood construction forced the shop to close temporarily. I watched my dad grow more depressed by the day. So, I found a new storefront and hung up the sign again. I didn't consult Elena about reopening. She was furious when she found out. We gave each other the silent treatment for days. That day, I had planned to explain my reasoning to her calmly. But as soon as I entered our complex, I saw Elena and Julian standing under the shade of a tree by the road. Julian was holding a stack of books, looking up and saying something to her. I was too far away to hear, but I saw a faint smile on Elena's face as she naturally reached out and picked a falling leaf off Julian's shoulder. Maybe it was exhaustion, or maybe the evening sun was too bright. I stumbled, nearly losing my balance. Elena was not the kind of person who noticed details like that. When we were dating, If I wasn't feeling well or was in a bad mood, she never noticed. Sometimes I'd complain, and she would explain with a serious face, I can't focus my attention on you all the time. If something is wrong, just tell me directly. I had comforted myself countless times that we grew up together, that I knew she was naturally cold and didn't mean any harm. But now, why could she notice something as small as a leaf? Simply because that person was Julian? Julian was Elena's star pupil, a genius recruited from another school. Elena, a woman of few words, was never stingy with her praise when it came to Julian. I once complained to her that he disrespected me, but Elena said I shouldn't be so harsh on a genius. She said, it's a trivial matter. Isn't a name just something for people to call you? Turns out, my lack of respect was just a trivial matter, less important than a leaf landing on Julian's shoulder. I sat on a park bench for a long time, thinking until the night grew deep. Then I went home. Elena was sitting by the floor-to-ceiling window, reading a book next to her chessboard. Hearing the door, she didn't even look up, as if I were air. I pushed down the bitterness in my heart and said softly, Elena, let's get a divorce. The reason? She didn't even blink. My mind was a mess of thoughts, but I decided to start with the leaf. I saw you with Julian this evening. That was when she slammed the book down and stood up. He came to get books. I didn't let him in. Are you still going to make a scene? If you suspect an affair, bring evidence. She frowned. If you keep this up, I'm going to question the correctness of this marriage. Elena didn't realize it. Even divorce didn't make her put down the chess book. But mentioning Julian got that aggressive reaction. That was the answer. Digging my nails into my palm, I smiled bitterly. No need to question it. It is incorrect, so it should end. Elena, I'm serious. This isn't a tantrum. Let's divorce. For a split second, a crack appeared in her icy mask, revealing shock and confusion. After a long silence, I turned to go to my room. Elena suddenly grabbed my wrist tightly. You just don't want me to bring up you reopening the shop without asking. So you're picking a fight to change the subject? She thought she'd found the logical answer. Ignoring my reaction, she started lecturing me. Running a breakfast diner is thankless work. I really don't understand, Ben. Why can't you ever weigh the pros and cons? I've already analyzed the correct choice for you. My chest felt tight. Once again, I realized that a guy who fries donuts and a woman who plays grandmaster chess really couldn't communicate. I took a few deep breaths and laughed self-deprecatingly. Right? I'm just dumb. I can't weigh the pros and cons. You're smart. You're the genius. You know everything, except why I need to run that shop. So, please, get the divorce done quickly and go find someone as smart as you. Okay. Professor Brandon? I shook off her hand and started packing. Elena didn't say another word. Only when I walked out with my suitcase did she speak. You stay. I'll stay at the school dorms. She moved out that night. The next time we met was at the police station. I stayed at the hospital until dark, finally going home only because Dad urged me to. Dragging my exhausted body through the front door, I was shocked to see Elena busy in the kitchen. She had taken off her wire-rimmed glasses, and her usually severe hair was hanging loosely over her forehead. In a soft white sweater and a warm-colored apron, she looked nothing like the cold-faced national champion the world knew. She looked more like the quiet, peaceful girl from my memories. Seeing me standing blankly in the doorway, Elena untied her apron. You're back. Let's eat. She placed a plate on the table. A golden omelet with a smiley face drawn in ketchup on top. Elena handed me a spoon. Her nonchalance made me laugh in disbelief. An omelet with a smiley face held special meaning for us. When we were dating, I used to complain. Usually, the girlfriend coaxes the boyfriend when they fight. But with us, I'm always the one coaxing you. She had explained seriously, I don't understand. I don't know how to make you stop being angry. So I taught her to make this omelet and draw a smiley face. Let the smiley face apologize for you. If I eat the smiley face, I'm not mad anymore. I had eaten Elena's smiley face omelets many times, and I had forgiven her many times. But right now, that plate looked like a silent insult. A surge of nameless fire shot up in my chest. I flipped the plate over. The crash echoed as the mess sprawled across the floor. My voice trembled. Elena, exactly how pathetic do you think I am? You helped Julian frame me, and now you want to pretend nothing happened? Elena bent down to pick up the shards, her emotions still unrippled. The first question is invalid. I never thought you were pathetic. Second, I didn't help Julian. Neither of you would settle. To ensure the tournament wasn't affected, I had no other choice. A shard sliced her finger. Blood welled up instantly. She looked at the cut blankly, stood up, and looked at me out of habit. I almost laughed. Did she expect me to dress her wound after all this? Elena waited a moment, then grabbed a tissue to wrap the cut. She looked up, her eyes full of confusion. Ben, I've been thinking about it for days, but I can't figure it out. Why did you bring up divorce that night? You said you saw Julian and me. I just gave him some books. What is the problem? I couldn't take it anymore. I asked her directly, do you really not know how Julian feels about you?
Elena froze.
I didn't know before. Before? I caught the keyword.
Elena nodded.
When we left the station, I asked him why he caused trouble at your shop. He didn't explain. Instead, he asked me, if you weren't in the picture, would I choose? She stopped abruptly. I smiled bitterly. So, how did you answer? Panic flashed in Elena's eyes. Her voice was strained. I said, yes. The string that had been pulled taut in my heart finally snapped. In that moment, I actually hated her honesty. Elena grabbed my hand, her tone urgent. It was a crucial international tournament. I just didn't want his mental state to affect the team. I snapped. Elena, stop lying to yourself. You fell for him a long time ago. Elena's face flushed red. She argued stubbornly. I didn't. Don't say things without basis. My phone buzzed with a message. I shook off her hand and unlocked the screen. It was a video from Julian. The moment I played it, my pupils dilated. I almost forgot to breathe. I took a deep breath and handed the phone to Elena. Here's your basis. The video was short. A close-up of Julian kissing Elena. In a chaotic crowd, Elena stood there motionless, letting the young boy shyly kiss the corner of her mouth. Elena swiped frantically at the screen, as if trying to erase the image. Her usually calm voice finally sounded panicked. Ben, it's not what it looks like. That's not the whole video. Listen to me, we won the match. Julian was too excited, he just kissed me. I didn't have time to dodge. It wasn't just me. He kissed the whole team afterward. If you don't believe me, I can get the security footage. I pulled the corners of my mouth into a smile, but my throat tasted bitter. Isn't that even more beautiful? Just like in Roman Holiday. To shake the hand of her beloved, the princess walks down from the throne and shakes everyone's hand. Your love is so noble. That's why I want a divorce. To help you two be together. Elena opened her mouth but couldn't find a single word of defense. In the long silence, the doorbell rang. I turned to open it. Julian stood there, radiant. Seeing me, his lips curled into a sneer. He shoved me aside and squeezed inside. Julian held up a paper bag to Elena, his voice dripping with calculated sweetness. Coach, I got someone to buy these liver supplements for you. You always stay up late, you have to take them. Seeing the mess on the floor, he paused, then forced an innocent smile. Oh my, did you guys fight? Was it because of the video I sent? Sorry, Coach. I meant to send it to you, but I slipped and sent it to him. I didn't mean anything by it. I just wanted to share something funny. Did you know, Coach? That kiss is trending. The internet is so clever. They're calling it, he kissed 6 people just for you. Ha ha ha. It's killing me. He was like a solo actor, completely immersed in his own performance. I grabbed a cup of water from the table and splashed it right in his face. Caught off guard, Julian stood dripping wet. While he was stunned, I summoned all my strength and slapped him hard across the face. A crisp crack echoed. Julian stumbled back, clutching his face, only stopping when his lower back hit the shoe rack. He stared at me with pure hatred.
Ben.
Coach is cursed to be married to a brute like you. Julian.
Elena shouted.
Julian instantly shut up. His almond eyes filled with tears, staring at Elena with a mix of fragility and defiance. Elena frowned deeply, her voice icy. First, kissing me and the other team members was inappropriate. It is not something worth sharing. Second, you owe my husband a sincere apology. I didn't pursue it before because of the match. Finally, if you have any respect for your teacher, you should call him Sir or Mr. Wilson. You do not get to call him by his first name. This was probably the first time Elena had spoken so harshly to him. Julian's eyes went wide with shock. His voice cracked. Coach, he hit me for no reason. Are you siding with family over logic? This time, his tears didn't work. Elena's tone remained even. By logic or by family, I shouldn't be helping you. Now apologize to my husband. Julian's chest heaved, tears rolling down his cheeks. I won't. I'm never talking to you again. Elena watched him cover his face and run out. She didn't chase him. You leave too, I said expressionlessly. I don't want to see you. I turned and went into the bathroom. When I came out after a shower, the living room was clean. There was a note from Elena on the table. I will transfer Julian to another mentor. I won't have contact with him anymore. I tossed it into the trash. The day Dad was discharged, I arrived at the hospital early. While packing, Dad asked me, "Aren't we waiting for Elena?" She said yesterday she'd come pick us up after class. My hands paused. I took a deep breath and tested the waters. Dad, there's something I've been wanting to tell you. If Elena and I divorce, will you be mad? Dad didn't look surprised at all. He sighed lightly. Are you stupid? Why would I be mad if you divorce? Is the marriage for me? No matter what happens, Dad is always on your side. The grievances and exhaustion of the past few days surged up. My nose stung, and tears fell. Dad gently patted my back. I knew something was wrong. Even with the flu, you wouldn't go days without seeing me or calling. You looked awful that day, so I didn't press. What actually happened? When I told him about the detention, Dad's face went white with rage. He squeezed my hand tightly. That Elena, how could she treat you like that? Divorce. We aren't punching above our weight class here. So what if she plays chess? She can't even tell parsley from cilantro. I burst out laughing, gently rubbing his chest to calm him. Dad, don't be mad. It's not worth your health. The shop is still counting on you. I hired a new guy, hardworking and smart. He's waiting for you to teach him. Back at our apartment complex, the neighbors gathered around. Hey, old Wilson, you're out. Looking good. Come on, we need a fourth for Mahjong. Dad smiled and responded to everyone, then turned to me. Ben, you go home first. I have serious business. I smiled. This old man was such a faker. Since when was Mahjong serious business? I mailed the divorce papers to Elena's university. It was like dropping a stone in the ocean. Elena didn't react. The grandmaster, so decisive on the chessboard, turned out to have an ostrich mentality in life. Julian, however, came to my house. I hadn't seen him in 2 weeks. He was thinner, with dark circles under his eyes. He smelled of alcohol, stumbling as he walked. Coach, why won't you see me? I don't want another mentor. How can you be so cruel? What's so good about Ben? How is he better than me? You too can feel it. I slapped away the hand he was flailing around. He squinted, finally realizing it was me. His look turned vicious. Ben, are you clinging to Coach? I'll give you money. I'll give you lots of money. Divorce her. She deserves better. I picked up a glass of cold water and practiced my aim, splashing it right in his face again. Sober yet? If you're sober, listen closely. Your coach isn't here. We're separated. Also, I'm not the one refusing to divorce. I crossed my arms and looked him up and down. Tell me, why won't she divorce me? Is it because you aren't trying hard enough? One morning, I was busy packing bagel orders for customers. The new guy, Zach, nudged me with his elbow. Hey boss, there's a pretty lady over there staring at you. I looked over. It was Elena. She was wearing a black coat, looking as immaculate as ever, though her face was slightly gaunt. I asked her, "Did you sign the papers?" Elena was silent for a long time. She didn't say anything. Instead, She rolled up her sleeves and started working, just like when we were kids, clearing tables, wiping them down. Watching this woman pick up used napkins, her practiced movements didn't look like a national chess champion. She looked like the girl from years ago, simply dressed, quiet, efficient. Elena had a rough childhood. After her parents divorced, neither wanted her. They dumped her on her elderly grandmother. Her grandmother was poor and senile, unable to care for her properly. I remember discovering Elena never ate breakfast. I asked her, "Why don't you eat? Aren't you hungry?" Elena kept a straight face and ignored me. I went home and told my parents like a dummy. After they lectured me, I realized not every kid had breakfast. My soft-hearted parents made me bring breakfast to Elena every day. First, she refused. My mom coaxed her, "Elena, I need a favor. My Ben is a bit silly and gets bullied easily. Could you watch out for him at school for me?" Only then did Elena accept the breakfast. And she started seriously protecting me. Later, every weekend morning, Elena would come to the shop to help. It wasn't until high school, when studies got intense, that my parents insisted she stop working. You could say Elena grew up in my family. Watching her busy silhouette, I suddenly thought of my mom. If she knew how things ended between Elena and me, would she regret taking that child in? Dad came in from outside. Seeing Elena holding a steamer basket, he froze. "Dad," Elena said softly. Dad kept a straight face. "Professor Brandon, we aren't family anymore. Call me Mr. Wilson." Elena's face went pale. Her hands trembled on the basket. Dad took the basket from her. His voice wasn't loud, but it was clear. "Professor Brandon, my shop is a small business, but over these decades, it hasn't done badly. I saved it all for my son. If he wants to run a shop, he can. If he wants to sit at home and spend money, he has enough. I didn't hand my son over to you so you could bully him. You drank my soy milk for 10 years. Yet you could lie and say there were flies in it. I watched you grow up, so I don't want to say ugly things. Just sign the papers. Let's part ways cleanly." Elena's lips quivered. She couldn't say a word. A few regulars eating in the shop chimed in. "All those bagels and coffee. Should have fed them to a dog instead of raising an ungrateful professor. Old Wilson, you're too nice. If it were me, I'd complain to her university. Helping a student frame her own husband? And you want to part ways nicely?" The harsh words struck Elena like arrows. She stood there in a daze until Zach, annoyed, ushered her out. That night, I worked late. When the hallway sensor light flicked on, I saw Elena. The woman who usually cared so much about her appearance was sitting on the floor against the wall, head down. The light stretched her shadow, making her look incredibly lonely. "Ben, you're back." Her voice was hoarse. She stood up slowly, swaying a bit from sitting too long. I silently unlocked the door. As I was closing it, Elena suddenly reached out to block it. Her eyes were full of panic and helplessness. "I'm sorry, Ben. It was my fault. Please forgive me." I shook my head and spoke calmly. "We've known each other since we were kids. Before I even knew what a crush was, I just wanted you to be happy. I told you, even if your parents didn't love you, I would always love you. I gave you everything trying to make you happy. But somewhere along the way, I became the unhappy one. Elena, you're like a bottomless black hole, constantly draining my ability to be happy. I'm tired." Elena's face was as pale as paper. She offered a weak defense. "Ben, you know about my emotional detachment. I don't understand a lot of things. I'll try to learn." I let go of the door and pulled some papers from the shoe rack drawer. Elena took them, confused. After scanning them, her expression shifted from confusion to shock. "Moderate depression."
Ben.
I laughed at myself. After Mom died, Dad was in bad shape. I was worried he'd get depressed, so I consulted a psychiatrist. Turns out I'm the one with depression. We're both sick. Let's treat ourselves separately. No one is obligated to save anyone else. Elena, we walked together for a long time. I thought we'd keep going. But now, this is where we stop. Elena's shoulders shook. She didn't speak. From the moment she saw the diagnosis, she hadn't said a word. When I went to close the door, she suddenly choked out. "You said You said you would never leave me. I curled my lips into a smile. I wanted the Elena who stood in front of me when people bullied me. The Elena who carried me on her back for miles to the hospital when I was sick. But who are you? You're the Elena who helped someone frame me and let me rot in a cell for 5 days. What right do you have to question me? Elena's shoulders collapsed. She bent over, clutching her chest in pain. From under her trembling hair came a voice like a dream. But you said you'd never leave me. I gently closed the door. Guess I lied. I don't want you anymore, Elena. After that day, Elena didn't pester me again. About a week later, she called. Her voice was much calmer. I redrafted the agreement. I've signed it. Elena had rewritten the asset division, giving most of the assets to me. I didn't refuse. My family had given her our hearts for so many years, and I was left scarred by this marriage. This was the compensation I deserved. The day the divorce was finalized, I felt incredibly light. Turns out divorce decrees are just paper, but they feel like freedom. A few days later, Dad told me excitedly, Ben, I finished my serious business. I was confused. What serious business? He played coy. Yes, I told you the day I got out of the hospital. I thought back. Something about a fourth player for Mahjong? Dad smacked me. Your innocence. The shop's reputation. Dad found the evidence. Anyone who bullies my son is going to pay. Turned out, from the first day he got out, Dad had been trying to clear my name. For days, the neighborhood grandpas and grandmas conducted a carpet search for witnesses and clues. Finally, they found a car owner whose dashcam was pointed right at the shop's entrance that morning. The video clearly showed Julian turning away with the coffee, opening the lid, and putting something inside. It also showed him splashing me and throwing the first punch. When I went to the precinct to report it, I ran into Elena. Coincidentally, the officers on duty were the same two from before. One officer was confused. Did you two plan this? Are you reporting a crime or surrendering? Elena was there to turn herself in for perjury. I replied, didn't plan it. She's surrendering, I'm reporting. The cop looked like his brain was frying. Are you guys married or not? We were last time. We're divorced now. With solid evidence, the police opened a case immediately. Julian was detained and fined for malicious slander. He had to pay damages and issue a public apology. Although it didn't constitute a criminal offense, it left a record. It would affect his future schooling and career. Elena was also held accountable for perjury. Because she turned herself in, the punishment was lighter. The university demoted her, but Elena voluntarily resigned. She posted the case results online, confessing to the perjury. She also announced she would never participate in professional chess competitions again. The scandal between Elena and Julian was roasted by the internet and went viral. Because of that spontaneous kiss at the international tournament, the two had been internet darlings. The story of he kissed 6 people just for you had been hailed as a real-life Roman holiday. But as the public apology revealed the truth, the sweeter it had tasted before, the more disgusting it felt now. After all, Elena helped her student frame her own husband. Who would believe they were innocent? Furthermore, someone doxed an anonymous account of Julian's called Teacher's Little Sweetheart. It detailed all the favoritism and spoiling he received from his mentor. Later, 2 students reported Julian under their real names. They claimed he used his mentor's favor to bully them into giving him first author credit on their papers. The scandal grew. After a school investigation, Julian was expelled from the graduate program. I heard he went to a chess club in Japan. There was no news of him after that. Elena went to teach at a university in Hong Kong. Before she left, she came to find me. It was late autumn, and a fine rain was falling. Elena held an umbrella and a bouquet of yellow roses. I liked flowers, especially bright yellow roses, but Elena had never given me any. Once, on Valentine's Day, I jokingly asked her to buy me flowers. She looked indifferent and impatient. What Valentine's Day? Just marketing tricks. Only ignorant people fall for it. Funny. All those years together, I never got flowers. Now that everything had changed, she brought them to me. Elena handed me the flowers, her eyes complex. I'm leaving, Ben. Take care of yourself. Take care of Mr. Wilson. I will. You too, I said calmly. Elena hesitated. Did you go to therapy? I smiled.
I'm cured.
The day I got the divorce certificate, I was half cured. Later, when I found out what happened to you and Julian, the other half healed instantly. A smile rippled across Elena's lips. She gave me a long, deep look.
Good boy, Ben.
Goodbye. We turned and walked in different directions, never looking back. 3 years later, in the spring, Dad's checkup showed he was healthy. Business at the breakfast shop was still booming. And I remarried. My wife is Lily, the owner of the flower shop on the next street. She owns a flower nursery in the suburbs. On our wedding day, the venue was a sea of flowers. Before the vows, Lily was so nervous her palms were sweating, mumbling the lines she had written ages ago.
I left her cute clumsiness.
A server brought over a gift box, saying a guest asked to pass it on. Lily praised it. This is beautiful. Ben, do you want to swap this on? I smiled and shook my head, looking tenderly at the jewelry on her ears. No, I still think the pearl earrings I picked look better on you. She grinned. Anything you pick looks good. Before going on stage, I glanced toward the exit. A thin figure flashed past and hid behind a pillar. I withdrew my gaze, took my wife's hand, and turned toward my future.